Good afternoon and welcome to the BRCGS Insight Information Session. Glad that you could join us. We've got a good audience today, and I think you've got a very good, interesting presentation we're going to do for you that's going to help you get a good understanding of exactly what Insight does, what it delivers, and what advantages it gives you. My name is John Kukoly. I'm the Director of the Americas for BRCGS. And with me today, I'm glad to have Tim Thorne, our Business Development Manager located in New Jersey. And Tim's going to give the majority of this with a lot of good technical detail. As always, if you have questions along the way with this webinar, you can see the questions section in the control panel. Type in your question if it comes up. We may cover some of the questions by the time we get to the end, but we don't want to have a crush once we get to the final few slides. So if a question comes up and you're thinking about it, you'd like it answered, by all means type it in at any time, and we'll do our best to either answer it during the presentation or afterwards. We look forward to a good session. Look forward to a lot of feedback from you. This is really exciting for us. This is a big step into a new generation of tools that we bring to the marketplace. So looking forward to this, and away we go. So as you all know, we want to have very positive action. We want our time is precious. Our efforts and energies are needed in a number of different areas. We want to ensure that the action we do is based on knowledge and data. In order to get the correct data, we've got a lot of that in BRCGS. If you remember our directory, we've got over 30,000 certified sites around the world. So we've got a lot of valuable data. Insight transforms that data into knowledge. It really gives you a good picture, an oversight of your organization, how you compare to the rest of the world, and what your supply chain looks like. And we're going to touch on all those pieces as we get further along in the presentation. That puts you in the driver's seat, gives you the ability to take the actions that are going to help you, your company, and your brand along the way. When we talk about that data, and you think what goes on during an audit, we have a lot of information, not just the audit grade and audit date nonconformities. Those are pretty simple. Everyone generally has those. That's on your certificate, fairly easy to see, regardless of what program or standards you're certified to. But when you start looking at a little deeper into the data, and you take a look at comparisons to last year, comparison to similar sites in the geography, comparison to sites that are within your own organization, that's where it starts getting more interesting, more valuable. And then you add on things like which certification body delivered which results, which auditors delivered which results. Really gives you a picture of how your supply chain works, how your organization works, and increasingly adds significant value to that investment you have in certification. Gives you the ability not just to say, I've got a piece of paper, I've got a certificate and a grade. I now have data and I have knowledge to be able to turn that into action. We all want to be market leaders. We want to take a look at what my sites are doing, what my competitors are doing, what my suppliers are doing. Having those three pools of information, that gives us the ability to really take a look and say, where do I stand? Where's my role? Where's my place? And where do I want to go to within the marketplace? So the first thing we're going to cover is what's new about my sites. How do I take a look at the information? And this is where I'm going to turn it over to Tim Thorne, who's going to cover off some of the details that are involved in that. So Tim, you want to hop on and take over?
All right, thanks, John. So what we're looking at right here is the landing page for our BRCGS Insight system. So you'll see there's 3 columns, and each column is going to share with you some different information about not only your certified facilities, but also the BRCGS certified facilities that supply to you. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is my sites. So what we see here is an overview of all of your certified facilities. And if we see, it'll give you a total of 141 facilities on the top. It breaks it down and lets you know which program they're certified against, whether it be food, storage, distribution, or any of the other certification programs we have. On the right side, it gives you a breakdown of the location and based on country. And on the bottom of the page, you can see how your facilities are scoring. The other thing to note is that on the top right, you'll see that we can set some parameters to hone in on specific dates or time periods. and all of the data here is inputted directly by the certification bodies, and it's all done in live time. So all this information is all done for you. You don't have to manage this or input anything to access it. The next page here is another kind of snapshot, and this is just going to highlight all of your certificates. It lets you know the status, it'll let you know the certification body, it'll let you know the category, the audit score. More importantly, what we're going to have is all of the CBs are going to input the confirmed audit dates into this system, and it's going to be displayed right here. So whether you're using one certification body or several, you can easily export this information and have a whole list of all of your scheduled audits for, as far as they're scheduled, but usually for a year. Next, we're going to look at my findings. So this is a snapshot of all of the findings that occurred at the 141 facilities that this company has certified. So in total, there were 810 findings, which could have compromised the product safety or quality. And we see that that averages out to just under 6 findings per site. So on the right side of the screen, all of the findings are categorized, and you can see which ones are most frequently occurring in the facilities. On the bottom of the screen, we can open up a clause list, and it will explain exactly what clause 3.3.1 is, and all of them. It actually just takes the BRCGS standards and it puts them into an Excel format. And again, you can export that to use as you see fit. One really neat feature about this system is the Nonconformity Report. And what this report does is it's going to issue you a full list of findings. And that list is going to look something like this. And it's going to show you the site name. It's going to show you the certification body. It'll even show you the specific auditor that wrote the nonconformity. What I think is the coolest part of this whole thing is that it's going to show you the approved corrective action as well. So you can use that, and if you have several, the same or similar findings at multiple sites, you should be able to look at the corrective action and kind of adapt that as you see fit to the specific sites. This report is workable, it's actionable, and most importantly, exportable, so you can, quickly download it into an Excel file.
Tim, it's John. Can you speak to some of the blanks we put in over the data on here?
Sure, yeah. The blanks are just because all of these screens that we see have just been pulled from our system. So this is actual data, and we just covered up some of the companies and supplier names just so it's private data. What we're looking at here is the next screen for my sites, and this is going to show at a quick glance the performance. So you'll see of 141 sites, there was 32 that improved, 20 did not do as well as did on their previous audit, and 90 of the sites were unchanged. So if you look on the left, it'll show you each site and how it scored on their last audit compared to the one more previously. Again, the list, you can export it, you can work it, you can scroll up and down, it'll have every site listed there. On the right side, it's just going to have the breakdown of the audit scores, and with that, you can see which scores were from sites that were performing better or performing worse than their previous audit. This is where it gets really cool, I think, at least. On the left, again, we're looking at your site's most common findings. On the right side of the screen, we are looking at all of the findings from every other BRCGS certified site in the world. And if we look on the top, again, we have the date parameters that we can put in there so you can look within a specific date. This is a lot of data. So what we've done to make it more applicable to your specific site is that we've added filters to it. And when we look at the actual filters, you can filter the rest of the world audit results just about any way you can imagine. We can look at specific standards, so food, packaging, agent brokers, what have you. We can break that down even further into specific product category. We can look at locations by country. We can even look to see which certificates are initial and which ones are, recertification audits. Lastly, when we look at benchmarking, this is going to show us how your facilities score in a specific country based on how all the other facilities are scoring in that country as well. And again, the same filters and functionalities apply here. You can slice and dice the data any way you'd like, and of course, everything is exportable. So that was just a quick summary of all the information that you can gather from your own facilities, but we also have the ability to capture all the data for your BRCGS certified suppliers as well. So again, the same format with the 3 columns, but instead of working on the top half, we're looking at the bottom half here, and this is all information for your suppliers. I don't want to be redundant and show you everything again, so I just want to show you a couple quick screens. This company has 1,200 suppliers that are certified against one of the BRCGS standards. It'll give you the breakdown of which standard. It gives you a location on the right. Really uniquely on the bottom here, it'll show you all of the facility scores. One feature that we've added is an alert feature. So whichever you decide the threshold to be, whether it be a B, a C, an A, anytime one of your suppliers scores, below or at that threshold, the system will alert you either with an email or a notification in this system specifically, and it'll tell you that one of your suppliers scored below what you were hoping for, and they'll give you all the information on that supplier, and then you can, take the necessary action. One other screen that this will show you for all of your suppliers is it shows you the category. So at a couple clicks of the mouse, you'll be able to see exactly how many suppliers you have within, specific industries, whether it be baking, dairy, or what have you. So all this information is a couple clicks, and you have access to your entire BRCGS certified supply chain. This, again, similar to your own sites, but we're looking now at a list of findings from your suppliers. The alert system, the alert function is still applicable here. Anytime one of your suppliers has a major or X amount of minors, we can go ahead and we can add that in there, and you'll be made aware as soon as the audit occurs. How is your supply chain compared to the rest of the world? So you always want to make sure that you're working with, the best possible business partners, and this will show you how your supply chain is scoring versus how the rest of the world supply chain is scoring. Again, you can filter this data just based on a specific industry or from averages from the rest of the world or particular regions.
Excellent. That was a good oversight, Tim. Appreciate it. And as we expected, the system really speaks for itself. This is something that once you see the capability, once you see the type of data display that you could do, the analysis that you can do, it really speaks to itself. And Tim, you've been leading the way with bringing the subscription service to a lot of our customers. What's the response been on from those that you've had a chance to talk to date?
John, it's been very positive. Some of the key factors are that all the information is compiled and inputted by the CBs themselves. So, the user doesn't have to maintain or manage anything. That's all done by us and with the certification bodies.
Excellent. And a reminder, if you have any specific questions, obviously you can get in touch with Tim right after this. His contact information is there. But if you'd like to type in any of the questions, we've got a few right now. While we answer a few of these, we'll be able to wait if there's any last ones that come in, but I'll just cover this first one, and then Paula's going to read off the rest of the questions. And typically, and we had a couple of people ask, typically of a presentation like this, people will ask, can I get a copy of the slides? Generally, we're quite open and willing to do that, but in this case, we're going to do one better. Anyone who would like a copy of this information tailored unique to their organization, just get in touch with Tim. He's going to walk through so that you can have visibility, not just of a something that's not necessarily relevant to you, but he can run you some of this information specific to your organization or your supply chain, and give you some insights into that and give you a better understanding of whether or not it's valuable. So Paula, do you want to ask a few of the questions?
Hello, everybody. So one question that I have here How soon after the audit report is uploaded before it appears on the system?
Tim, I'm going to let you cover some of these, I think, right?
Yeah, sure. So as soon as it's uploaded into the system, it's going to be instantaneously available into your system. So once everything gets sent up into the portal, it will be right over into the Trace One system for you to view.
Awesome, thank you, Tim. The next question that I have here listed, what is the onboarding process once we purchase Insight?
All right, so the onboarding process is pretty simple. What we would do is we'd have you and your team, and we'd set up a call with myself and our IT support team, and we'd go through the ins and outs of the whole system with you, make sure that you're using it, understand all the functionalities. We'll work with you to set up any bookmarks or set up any of the alerts. We'll take as much time as it needs to make sure that you're comfortable with the system and that you understand exactly how to use it.
All right, the next question I have listed here, can I separate out food, packaging, and storage certifications?
Yes, simply put, yeah. You just have to use the filter button, and you can filter it, any way you see fit. But yeah, simply put, yes.
Wonderful. How do I get visibility of my supplier sites?
So as you know, when it comes to data protection, it's the owner of the data is the one that has permission to share that data. So in the BRCGS world, the site that paid for the certification, is the owner of that data. They have the ability to determine who or who they don't want to share this information with. So part of our directory portal system is a whole secure permissions sharing program that what will happen is, let's say I'm a pizza manufacturer and I want all of my ingredients and my packaging suppliers to share their data through here so I can do analysis on my supply chain. I'm going to send them a request. It's very much like Facebook. Or LinkedIn. I'm going to send them a request. I would like you to share your data with me. They give me that permission. I'm going to also be able to see anybody that's declined that, so that what I'm going to be able to go and talk to those suppliers. Is there a problem? Is there an issue? Are you the right supplier for me? If you're not willing to share this, this is where the data is going and what I'd like to do with it. So it is permission based. It is, people will grant that. Once you have it, then you're all set up in the system. We have some ways and certainly some tips on how to enhance that journey and make sure it's effective and efficient. But that's the process. So it's the owner of the audit information is the one that gets to share it with their customers.
Amazing. I have another question here. Can I see both non-conformities at a company level as well as on a site level?
Tim, I think you're in the best spot to answer that one.
Yeah, so the answer to that is yes. And the other thing, John, I just wanted to add to what you said. Um, this system also will capture audit data for BRCGS Start as well. So if any of your supply chain are using BRCGS Start, you can also have all that audit data as well, and it'll all be categorized. So that can help you with a little bit better idea and some visibility into your supply chain. But yeah, again, if you run that non-conformity report, it'll let you know exactly which the findings are and to which sites and how they were associated to each specific facility.
How well can Insight give me visibility on specific products that I produce? Can I see benchmarks against others?
So I'll take a stab at it, and hopefully I understand this question correctly. But if you're producing, product X, you can go ahead and see every other certified facility that's producing that same product. You can then see what their most common findings are, and you can see what their audit scores were. So it's a good way to see any trends or predict any findings that are happening in the industry to make sure they don't happen at your site as well. But it's also a good way to gauge to make sure that you're having fewer findings and higher scores in comparison with your direct competitors.
That's a valid response, and it's good, and reminds me, Tim, that people are using this in two ways. One, they look at the direct result. I want to see what my competitors are getting for non-conformances. I want to see what I'm getting. I want to make sure I'm doing better than my competition. absolutely in that range. But when you start looking at it either from this is my supply chain or this is my organization, it starts to identify things like training needs, cultural issues. You know, if suddenly we're seeing a spike in senior management nonconformities going through my organization, that may speak to, hey, we've got some culture issues that we need to expand on. Or if we see suddenly a lot of uptick in one region of our supply chain, you know, one part of the world, our supply chain is suddenly seeing a lot more nonconformities in the structural integrity part, you know, how they keep their premises, upkeep, things like that. We could say, hey, wait a minute, maybe the economy there is hurting people. That's enhancing or increasing the risk for contamination through materials because the economy is not doing well because in that area. So it really allows you to bring in more insight is the right word from your analysis of what's going on, as Tim mentioned, as you said, you know, whether it's by region, whether it's by category, whether it's by standard, you can really split things up to the point of, you know, we can do some comparisons like for my own, you know, I've got 100 sites that are certified to BRC. I've got 3 different certification bodies. I'm going to now compare the data by certification body so I can see who's giving me value. You know, it's not about, be very sure, it's not about who's giving me the fewest nonconformities, who's giving me the best value for this investment. I want to see who's really delivering on this tool using BRCGS certification to really deliver the best results possible. Okay, it looks like we've come to the end of the questions. Tim, is there anything else you want to add to this?
No, just that I'm available if anybody wants to, discuss this in a little bit more detail or to see how it applies to, your specific company or organization. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate your involvement in this, Tim. It's great to have you doing this. I know you really know this product inside and out, and you've been having a lot of good conversations with our customers on it. So we appreciate everyone's time that attended this, everyone that came to listen, and look forward to talking to you more about Insight and the rest of BRCGS Americas. With that, we'll say goodbye.
Don't forget to register for the Food Safety Americas 2020 conference, hosted by BRCGS in San Antonio, Texas. You can have the chance to listen to exciting speakers, informative workshops, and network with the biggest brands in the food industry. Sign up as an attendee or as a sponsor by visiting www.brcgs.com/events, Food Safety Americas 2020. We'll see you there.